Before I began anything, I asked for their consent and agreement to being recorded, to which they agreed to. Basically, I gathered my target audience, which are my friends, in a Google Hangouts. I talked to them about this environmental law project first, then I proceeded to show them the video that you are going to watch. After they finished watching, I asked them to fill out the survey form that I have prepared. For some reason, the audio wasn't being recorded, so this is what I'm left with. We'll just have to make do with what we have left. Back then, people could go outside and walk from place to place without breaking into heavy sweat. Back then, there were plenty of polar bears around. Back then, the animals were free to roam around. Now, because of our carelessness, the Earth's temperature is rising and the ice in the North and South Pole are melting. Because of our carelessness, the polar bears are dying. Because of our carelessness, the animals are losing their homes. Climate change is real and it is happening. Here's a fun fact. This year is the 50th anniversary of the Earth Day celebration, which was on the 22nd of April 2020. This year's theme for Earth Day is Climate Action. From the theme itself, you will know that it has something to do with climate change. Many people often confuse climate change and global warming as the same thing. However, I can assure you, they are definitely not. Climate change is the long-term change in global weather patterns, while global warming is the overall increase of the Earth's temperature. From its definition, you can clearly see that they are totally different things. Global warming is just a small part of climate change. Speaking from the legal perspective, I feel that there should be laws on climate change specifically. Even though there are treaties and conventions relating to climate change, I feel that they are not enough because treaties and conventions are not mandatory to be ratified by all the countries in the world. I feel strongly that there should be something that is stronger and more binding in all 195 countries around the world. This is because I feel that to stop and prevent further damage of climate change, it should be a collective effort instead of an individual effort. Hence, there should be something that binds all the 195 countries around the world together. As some of us may or may not know, there is something known as the carbon tax in the state of California in the US. So, in Malaysia, there should be something like this as well, in line with the polluters pay principle. This is because there are many factories in Malaysia, especially the rural areas, like the high-tax factory. As we know, factories emit a lot of pollutants, mainly greenhouse gases, which causes the thinning of the ozone layer and the rise in the Earth's temperature. Besides that, I feel that there should be laws on reusing or repurposing abandoned buildings. The buildings that are run down and outdated can be redeveloped into something that is new and modern to fit in with the times, instead of tearing down forests and jungles to create another building that is bound to be abandoned anyway when it is no longer in trend. So, instead of clearing land for buildings that are bound to be abandoned, why not just reuse and redevelop the existing buildings? This will save the environment a lot. It may seem nothing to tear down the land at the moment, however, it does impact us. Instead of looking towards countries like the US and China, I personally feel that Malaysia should look towards Bhutan instead. Bhutan is one of the greenest countries in the world, thanks to their excellent environmental governance. Bhutan is the only country in the world that is carbon negative. Yes, you heard that right. It is not carbon neutral but carbon negative. This can be attributed to the fact that they have plenty of forests, which is able to absorb the carbon that is produced to be turned into oxygen. Even though climate change is and has been happening, we can do something to stop it if we all work together starting now. There are a few things we can do as inhabitants of this planet. Firstly, we should educate ourselves regarding the various environmental issues that are happening right now, one of which is climate change. Only when we know what is happening, we will work towards stopping it before it worsens even further. Next, we can decrease the usage of items which will release or contains chlorofluorocarbons, CFC gas, such as hairspray, air conditioning, and pesticides. Another thing we can all do is commute to places that we want to go, instead of driving individual vehicles. Little by little, we can all work together to change the earth for the better. I think to solve this issue, small steps should be taken as no problem can be solved in an instant. By phases, we can implement public transport throughout the country to minimize the usage of individual vehicles and encourage the use of public transport to reduce carbon emission. Besides that, the use of products containing CFC should be banned as well, or at least limited to an extent. I feel that products with CFC should be taxed to discourage the public from using it. That is all for my video for Environmental Law Project 2020. Thank you for watching.